Welcome back to Music News TV. This is Tim Hunter, and today's music news, as you guys probably already know, and if you don't know, Quincy Jones has passed away. He was 91 years old with an immaculate record of success in the music industry, to say the least. If you guys are not familiar with his work, he's definitely most popularly known for doing the Thriller album with Michael Jackson. He also did the Off the Wall album with Michael Jackson, as well as the Bad album with Michael Jackson. In addition to working with the likes of Frank Sinatra, Ella Fitzgerald, a lot of the jazz greats, Brothers Johnson, Letters 23, George Benson, Give Me the Night, just so many others, Shaka Khan, many others, Donna Summer. Jeez, the guy had #1 hits left and right. I think he won like 27 Grammys in his lifetime. That was just totally amazing. Had a nice full life. But what made Quincy Jones great? And I thought about this. It's a lot of things I personally like that I can note. But let's think about this for a second, okay? If you go back when he first started producing in the 1960s, his first actual producing job was for what's her name? It's My Party and I Can Cry If I Want To, right? Can't think of her last name for nothing. I keep thinking of his wife, Peggy Lipton, for some reason. But her name is Peggy. That was his first producing job. Now, he got that job to produce as a A&R for MCA Records for about a year. He didn't like that. So, an executive told him to try his hand at producing this young teenage girl who got a song they think that can be a good hit that she wrote. Or someone wrote for her, whatever. I'm not sure. Well, for him, it was very easy to do it. He was a master musician. Keep in mind, Quincy Jones, if you don't know his story, I think you should take a look at the documentary on his. He got a couple of documentaries that's floating around on YouTube. One in particular, the last one was done by his daughter Rashida on Netflix right now. You can find it. That was called Quincy. He tells his life story. He talks about, of course, he was a little kid growing up in Chicago on the South Side. Very rough terrain. He was poor and everything like everyone else over in that neighborhood. And he ran around with a lot of bad people. His father used to work for the Jones brothers, who he said they weren't related, but the Jones brothers were like these gangster brothers who pretty much ran around with a lot of guys who used to run numbers. They were literally street millionaires, had so much money. But these guys literally ended up having to leave town because they were into it with the Capone guys. And Quincy Jones' father didn't want any confusion, so he grabbed his kids up, took them to Seattle. Now, shortly before that, keep in mind, Quincy Jones was like 5, 6 years old. His mother went literally into an asylum for insanity. So he was scared of his own mother all his life. He pretty much picked up the same habits out there in Seattle that he had in Chicago. Running around being bad up to his early teenage years when they were literally sneaking into places, whatever, and ransacking the place. And this was on a military base. He happened to walk into a room by himself, saw a piano for the first time, sat down and started playing around. That changed the course of his life. 2 years later, he was playing with Lionel Hampton. If you guys don't know what that's equivalent to, that's like someone in the 8th grade being recruited by Dr. Dre or something, you know what I mean, to go on tour and learn from those guys, or Jay-Z or something like that. That's how big that was. So, needless to say, he took this thing on very seriously. He used to play trumpet. Then he went on to playing other instruments and so on like that. Well, anyway, let's go fast forward and talk about what made him great. One of the things was, of course, his work ethic. It was said that he will work literally 4 or 5 days in a row. So, can you imagine that if you're producing a song, working 4 and 5 days in a row, not spending time with your family, not really taking those sleeping breaks or nothing like that. And it got so bad for him, he ended up having a brain aneurysm, in which he almost lost his life in the 70s. When they went in and scanned him for that, they don't talk about this in that particular documentary, but they found another aneurysm. He had to come back and actually get surgery on that one. His situation was so serious that his friends gave him a mock funeral. to show him what his funeral would be like. Very sad situation for him, but he pulled through from that. Went on to do, of course, what he's known for doing. Quincy Jones delved into a lot of different arenas as a music producer and a master of music. And that's why I think made him greater as well. He was universal in his thought. He didn't just stick to one forte of music like jazz. He jumped also into movie soundtracks with like The Pawnbroker and things like that. He got into TV and did the music for Sanford and Son and Ironside, to say the least. Then he got into funk music. Brothers Johnson, Letters 22 or 23 or whatever. George Benson and all that, right? Then, Secret Garden. He always kept things going on the level that he wanted to play on. Another thing I noticed was he always had a great positive attitude. I met him a couple of times, great positive attitude. Everyone that knew Quincy Jones became a friend of Quincy Jones after meeting him for the first time. That's how positive his attitude was. I only heard of one dispute that he had, and that was with Donna Summer. That was creatively, though, a creative dispute. There was some harsh words said. Quincy got his way, and she got a #1 song because of it. So this guy knew what he was doing, and he was adamant about, what he was bringing to the table. But that's another thing. Okay, you're talking about someone who had a heck of a work ethic, positive attitude. In addition to that, he had taste, great taste in what he did. Because he knew his music so well, he mastered his industry. So I just thought about that, in addition to the fact that, of course, we got this breaking news that we lost one iconic figure that can never be replaced. In addition to, what else can we see from others that may be pursuing some things that we can be looking at, like we look at Quincy Jones? And I'm pretty sure you're going to find those same traits. Anyway, that's it for me on Music News TV today. Hope you guys liked and subscribe here. Get you back with more news coming up soon, okay? That's it for now. Thanks for tuning in.